I wear sunglasses at night so I can track the visions in my mind. There's someone behind me, isn't there?
No! You've been doing the same joke for 10 years!
What's that?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope this video on a funky Friday finds you feeling good and feeling great about yourself today. Yes, my previous video might have been a bit of a downturn in terms of everything else, but I'm Mr. Positivity right here. I'm not Sungran Studios. Who do you think you're confusing me with, you damn fool? But in today's video, folks, I'm going to do what I like to do best and to bring you a couple of quick snippet news stories in video gaming before I get to the main course, the main topic, the main pile of spaghetti with a bit of meat thrown on top, and I think you're going to actually dig this. But before I do anything else, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and let's get on with what I think will be an absolutely entertaining video that will have you gabbling like a pair of hens from now until Sunday. Oh, don't mind me, ladies and gentlemen, but if you enjoyed today's video, and I'm sure for the very obvious reasons why you might have liked it, don't forget to give it a like, tell your friends and maybe your cats and dogs about me, and if I were them, and if I were you should have... It's all your fault and your lovely tits.
All right, monkey, do what he said.
Kung Fu Hot Dog, you rock.
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Come get some. Hey, numbnuts. Relive the 80s and 90s with Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Now, courtesy of Insider Gaming, and I think it's Andrew Heighton this time, not Grant Taylor Hill, Split Fiction movie confirmed with Sydney Sweeney taking a lead role, which we think is probably going to be Zoe in this instance. Now, Split Fiction, I've not played it because I don't have any friends to play with online, but apparently with a co-opting partner online, if you fully complete the game, Joseph Fares, or Ferez, how do you pronounce that guy's name, appears as a hologram and tells you, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. You get to fly out to Sweden and see the preview of our next game. I kid you not, that's what actually happened to two very lucky people.
Give me $1 billion.
Of course, it is one of the biggest games of the year, which doesn't surprise me at all. Following up, It Takes Two, which was a previous game in 2021. The follow-up, obviously, which is Split Fiction, just capitalized on that old mantra of, if it's not broke, don't fix it, which I think is absolutely wonderful. But Mr. Heighton here doesn't really have a clue who Sydney Sweeney is, because it's kind of funny. She's also involved with the Outrun video game adaptation. So I am guessing that her agent has spoken to her and said, Sydney, I mean, we love your tits, but she can't keep getting them out for adult entertainment. You've got to broaden the spectrum, love. So I think this is what she's actually doing. Plus, Sydney Sweeney's own father is embarrassed about showing his dad her films, where she likes to do that quite a bit, right? So I get it. It's a smart move on Miss Sweeney's part. Variety were the people who broke the news, so credit to them. And I think it's good. Now, having not played Split Fiction, I didn't know that the blonde female character of Zoe, which is probably the right casting match for Sweeney, is an English rose. So as they've stated right here, can she pull off the English accent? Well, time will only tell, but if she can't, stick with the American. I don't think that fundamentally changes anything about the game whatsoever. People might get annoyed, who knows. But looking at this screenshot right here, I would cast Ana Diaz as Mio. That would be perfect casting. I mean, good grief. Sydney Sweeney, Ana Diaz in the same film together. I know where I'll be on that day. Now, of course, the people behind the Deadpool and Wolverine movie have also been drafted in to write up the screenplay for this. Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. So if you enjoyed that movie with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, I thought for the most part it was entertaining. The greatest thing since sliced bread? Nope. Still has the Marvel cringe DEI shit in it, so that kind of knocked off a few points for me regarding that. It was the TVA black body positive woman at the end. I just did not need that, which is why I don't own the film on Blu-ray. Thank God. And on the other news front, folks, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 did gangbusters 24 hours ago. 51,922 people playing. It's dropped to 47,000 now, but honestly, I bought this game thanks to a very generous discount by the makers in France, Sandfall Interactive, because you can purchase the game at a reduced price. I think it's just to entice people into who might like me be put off by playing an RPG that's like a JRPG, but it's obviously made by French folks. But people are loving this. Now, I'll say to you as a caveat, folks, watch Luke Stevens' video review about this because he doesn't spoil anything. Apparently, if you watch IGN or anybody else, they may unintentionally spoil the certain aspects of the game for you. So what Steven says was, the best way for you to experience it is to switch off those reviews, play it yourself and give your own review, which is what I'm doing. So hopefully by Sunday evening, I will drop a video review regarding my, obviously not completing the game, maybe the first 20 hours or so, and giving you my impression. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to capture myself playing the game and giving you my thoughts about it. But congratulations to them, actually. This could be a contender for Game of the Year. But some idiots who are not contenders for any time of any year, period, would be NexusMods and Mike Ybarra, the former Blizzard Activision man. Because, boy, man, he got salty. He got really salty just because a 20... And it's not a 20-year-old game. It's a 19-year-old game called Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I mean, that shadow dropped on Tuesday, and then people were downloading it and playing, and are still playing the hell out of it. I'm going to buy my copy very, very shortly as well from Steam, just to help with the numbers, because, again, never played it before. Don't know what it's like in terms of what I've seen already, but people like Mr. Matty Plays enjoyed it, although he outlined that the expert mode, it kind of betrays the gameplay quite a bit. There's a bit of patching to go on. But Mike Ybarra, who sounds like an African print from Nigeria, was comparing this game, Oblivion, to Elden Ring, which is the weirdest chalk and cheese comparison you can make, right? Because why would you do that? If anything, Oblivion set the benchmark for what FromSoft's Elden Ring would become. Now, what this article by Vaspan Dastor has stated, it's not. Now, that headline is a bit shit because he says here, proving once again that execs don't know what gamers want. That should read as proving once again that execs don't know what the F they're talking about. Simple as that. By the way, folks, if you're wondering why I keep looking at my left sometimes, because the previous recording of this didn't come out. My audio interface, if it's not plugged in properly or my PC thinks it's not, it won't give me the actual sound. It won't be the sound devices picked up by your PC. So I was annoyed by the previous iteration, but here we go. The worst kept secret in the video games industry is finally out after numerous leaks. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake, not remastered. It's a remake with definitely a big coat of remastering all over it. Finally available to play, and everybody's loving it. For the most part, they are. That's true. But Mike Ybarra on Blue Social, because where else would it be, is skeptical about a 19-year-old game being remastered. What was once fantastic, no dude, it still is fantastic. Now remastered will never hold up against modern masterpieces. The dude, this is the same guy who just disliked Marvel Rivals last December, didn't he? he had an absolute gripe about that game because, oh my god, nobody's playing Overwatch 2 anymore, are they? I would love to be proven wrong, but and I don't want to read the rest because I don't want to give him traffic on Blue. Now, while Yabara is right about Elden Ring raising the bar, or the bra in his case, because he probably wears them on a Sunday, comparing it to Oblivion Remastered makes absolutely no sense. Although the genre is the same, the reason that someone would play the latter, which is Oblivion, is for nostalgia. And that's what it's all about, folks. Not nostalgia baiting, but nostalgia. Now, Yabara is getting roasted online for this, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Again, reinforcing the fact that video game execs don't know what the F they're talking about. The same can also be said for NexusMods, or as I like to call them, sexless mods, because that's exactly who makes up that god-awful team over there. On Reddit, they have finally, that's NexusMods, decided to leave up a version of the male-female Oblivion Remastered mods, but not without locking comments down and posting a virtue signaling community notice. Let's have a look at that, folks, because it is pretty hilarious. This mod has been, and likely will continue to be, a source of controversy within the community. After a thorough review, they sound like Team YouTube here, by the way, we've determined that the content of the mod itself does not violate our community guidelines. They're only saying this now because they got a ton of backlash for removing the mod in the first place. I talked about this in my reaction about Oblivion on Wednesday. Oh, I bet somebody's going to do a NexusMod that brings in male, female instead of type 1 and type 2, because when you read those particular titles, you think about diabetes, right? However, due to the nature of the topic, because they're a bunch of retards at NexusMods, which often attracts intense and sometimes hostile discussion, no it doesn't, the comment section will remain locked to prevent further escalation. Holy shit, this is embarrassing. And why was the original upload removed? There's been a lot of speculation and misinformation regarding the removal of the original upload. To clarify, the mod was not taken down because of its content. Yes, it was. As stated in the ban notice, it was removed due to the uploader's behavior. In the comments, the uploader expressed an intent to incite drama and endorsed an external site explicitly designed to host inflammatory content. This kind of behavior directly violates our community standards because NexusMods, you don't have any. We recognize that mods like this can bring sensitive discussions around gender and identity to the foreskin. While these are important conversations, which again you like to deplatform NexusMods, our platform exists to support creative expression in modding, not to serve as a battleground for broader cultural or political debate, which is absolute effing retarded because they've often shut down people who oppose ideology. Someone here, which I thought was pretty funny, this guy, 7H3 Laughing Man, he was banned because apparently he was inciting hatred and laughing at NexusMods, so they banned him outright. And again, it must be because of something that he said. Maybe he's the guy behind the mod, the original mod. I don't really know. But this is an interesting debate here, which I'm going to try to breeze through quite quickly. So this person here called Kefka03 on Wednesday. Actually, no, people like him have made these kind of posts before and then got banned outright by NexusMods. So by the time I read this, folks, it will probably have been taken down. Understanding the removal of body type mods. A polite and courteous discussion, right? So I think that's fine. So he begins by saying, or she begins, hello, I've just a question about the mods that change the body type. I can see some mods coming out, a bit of an unintended pun there, restoring the female and male body types as they were in the original 2006 game. But these mods keep getting removed. I would just like to understand why. What's wrong with these mods? I don't want to offend, and by the way, folks, if you even mention that phrase, you're in danger of offending the ne'er-do-wells out there. It's just common practice now. I just want to understand and allow for a polite and courteous discussion. So this person, Astra Pogianas, I think the usual reason is that some of these mods are transphobic and offensive. In my opinion, it's a reach to call mods just that, or adding the male and female instead of body 1 type and body type 2, because they're transphobic if you call it male and female. No, it's not. It's just male and female as we were born as. This one seemed neutral. Others have been obviously banned because they use edgy titles like dewoking X game or similar wording in their descriptors. Nexus has been consistent in banning these type of mods for some time now, so don't be surprised if this thread also gets deleted very soon. Well, we'll soon find out if that happens or not. If this is indeed a deal breaker, there are other mod hosting sites that don't delete these mods, because NexusMods got roasted for removing that mod in the first place. That's why they're backtracking now, which is absolutely hilarious. Vagrant Zero, a premium NexusMods poster, and this person actually came with some really shit things to say, by the way. The change, well, apparently people are overthinking it. The change is pure and simple. It was done to make translation in other parts of the world easier, which I think is a bullshit thing to say. Mechanically, Type 1 and Type 2 function exactly the same as male and female, which I did state in my video reaction on Wednesday. I said, yeah, Type 1 and Type 2, it's obvious which one is which. But again, if you didn't know that, you might think, well, am I playing as a male or am I playing as a female? Because I imagine that their character creation shows you what sex you're going to be anyway, right? But apparently, if you use male and female, it could be classed as derogatory. And then it's used Japanese language here, I believe, or yes, probably Japanese, and that's probably... Oh my gosh, is that meant to be Indonesian, I think? And some with the translation team being able just to look at that language and go, or that code and go, oh yes, that's close enough to male or female, which is such an ignorant thing to say. Gate Hacker said people are honestly overthinking this. So they're requoting that person there. To be fair, if a male and female function the same, then there is no point in changing it because everybody knows exactly what you're referring to, body type and everything else wise. But apparently this is to do with culture, which I don't actually agree with. Now what they say here is this: I identifying as a male or female is not derogatory, and no one gender should be seen that way. If that's the reason it was changed, then that says the translation team is reinforcing that identifying as male or female is bad, which is just a gross thing to think about. Calling other humans by their gender, which again is not bad, because in everyday language or in the news, this woman committed this crime, this man. But if it's a trans woman, then it's going to be, they still actually call them a woman, even though they're a tranny, which is hilarious. Also, sorry this comes off as a bit me ranting at you, that Vagrant Zero. I'm just annoyed the gender debate even happens and leads to something like a gender mod being banned. But the thing is, Bethesda, and I'm going to quote ads from Heel versus Babyface because he made a very excellent point of, but if they simply just had the game, the remastered, reworked version as male and female, then that's it. You probably would have increased your game sales a bit more. You would have found favor with the community. I think personally, Bethesda did that because as much as I like them as a game company to almost the nth degree, they're fearing backlash. I guess some consultative group went in there and spoke to Todd Howard and Ashley Cheng and said, guys, if you don't start leaning on this side, I mean, again, they're under Microsoft now, right? So maybe the Microsoft consultants came there and just had a very scary word in their ear and said, you need to do the following. You need to make these adjustments just to be in favor with the trans community, even though you're probably offending those strange ne'er-do-wells as well, right? So I don't buy any of that whatsoever. It's I wouldn't call it. This is overly critical overthinking, folks. That's what this is. At the end of the day, if you're playing a game like Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, right, and you want to see who you're playing as, male or female, when I play as a female in a game, she might be the default female character in there. Or if it's Mass Effect, I'll always play as either femme shep or male shep. Funny that they're called that, right? They're very gender specific. Nobody had a problem with those game titles and that particular rule, that thumb of rule, or the rule of thumb in those games, right? When Mass Effect 5 or 4, whatever it's going to be called, comes out, I guarantee you that's going to have type 1 or type A or body type, something like that. They won't call it male or female because, again, Western video game companies will not learn, will they? They've got to conform to the communist way of thinking. And as soon as we move those idiots out of the way and just make the world a normal place, folks, let's have some normalcy here, ladies and gentlemen, then I think we can just get on and enjoy our hobby of gaming or reading or whatever without all this moronic nonsense going on in the background. But while that still happens, folks, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Like this video, share it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll catching me for the return of my next episode.
Hey, Doc, is it a male or female?